That's why it's below the
If
table.
you have
Otherwise they might
just do
move
it
on.
decently.
Is it possible for us to move a little bit this side because the light that's coming from there, it's from the
This side?
disturbing.
Mrs. Pinaar?
I just
Too
want
close
to,
each other.
We got
and not too close to each other. I just want to hide the
Ja,
light.
ons moet die tafel so toeskuif. Trek Janos, ek stoot 1, 2,
Okay, wacht, dat ons dit net reg kry.
Can I
2,
just,
3. Nog. Dis hy. 1, 2, 3.
Daai
Clinton.
Pula banner daarvoor is.
because it's too
One
much
thing
from that
that-
side.
Hey,
The light is too much
let's
from
put that Pula banner.
Yeah,
there.
it will be much.
Ek is hier. Kyk
Dis
oor
Vol.
Dis al as jy miskien net van daai kant af so kan druk as hy hier vir aankom dan kan ons daar ons spasie.
Nou die tafel geskuif.
Ja.
Dis is wat.
Met ons hierdie een oor die gap sit.
Ja.
See if that's gonna help.
Clinton kan kyk.
Ja,
So much, sir. Thank you so much.
Ruby, waar gaan jy nou om?
ek gaan net hier so sit.
I gaan vanaf called Saturday morning. And thank you very much that you watched the video. I believe if you're joining us today, you got the information to watch the video. You probably sent some questions into us, and then you're joining us now for the answers to the questions that you posed on the Google form. So we would really like to welcome everyone and say thank you for working together with us. We are going to first answer all the questions that we gathered in the Google forms and also the survey that we sent out at the end of June. So we're going to go through the general questions. If there are any questions that was about a specific learner, a specific concern, or maybe had some sensitive information, then we are not going to deal with it on this platform. We will, however, also answer all parents individually. So if there was a question asked about your child's performance, we will in general today explain the processes, the procedures, but we will direct the question to the grade head that will then give you a personalized response on your email. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Pinaar to first start with the questions that we got from the June survey. Thank you very much, Mrs. Pinaar.
Good morning, parents. And thank you for joining this meeting this morning. It is also new for us, so please bear with us if we are looking for the answer or the question. We are going to try our best. Now, the first question that I'm going to deal with is, I'm also not going to say who the question comes from, but as the side note said, we will answer the parents individually as well. You will receive an email with this answer. Would my child not be victimized if I register a concern about specific educator or administrative personnel? Now, I can say, truthfully say that we take any victimization at school very seriously. Whether it is from learners or teachers, we do not tolerate that. So if we are aware of the specific victimization, we will definitely address it immediately, notwithstanding the fact if it is a teacher or a learner. So please don't hesitate ever to make us aware of that, because we really want to root out victimization in any form at our school. When will our kids be taught vernacular? Was one of the questions that was asked. That was for the primary school. Ma'am Stradon, will you answer that question?
Good morning. In the past, we sent out a survey just to find out how many parents would be interested in vernacular at the primary school. The survey was not very positive for a vernacular language at the primary, but we are more than willing to do it once again before the end of this year. Thank you, ma'am.
Right, the next question I have is, I have a problem with my son who is seemingly struggling with maths but isn't able to communicate with a teacher about that. I have also sent an email regarding which other steps to take in order to help him. And then please send the reply. We will also answer this parent, but I want to say to all parents, we have lots and lots of intervention programs for different subjects. But for mathematics, we have a huge intervention program. especially obviously for grade 12s because they need to be prepared for their final exam. So this specific one will be answered to the parent. And I just want everybody to know that if a child wants a little bit of extra attention, the teachers are available to do that. And that usually happens during 1 and 2 every afternoon when there is a sport or a cultural period, as well as extra classes period. The next question, appointment made with the teacher didn't materialize as I was told that they were not available when I got to the school. And that didn't sit well with me. The school reports learners that not at school, even when the child has reported that she has a medical appointment. Okay, that's 3 questions in one from one specific parent. If a parent made an appointment with a teacher and she couldn't or he couldn't see the teacher that day, I would really want that to be brought to my attention because we make specific appointments only at the times when the teachers are available. So if a parent arrives late or if a parent is here earlier, then the parent will definitely not be able to see the teacher because we do not take teachers out of classes when there is a full class of learners. So parents must also please bear with us. If you arrive at school late for an appointment, the teacher now has a class, then it will not be possible for that teacher. And it's possible that the teacher is teaching every period up to the end of the day. Then it won't be possible for the teacher to see you. But I have your name and I will definitely follow up to see, and I would like to know the name of the teacher because I can only follow it up if we know the name of the teacher. The school reports learners at school even when the child has reported that she has a medical appointment. That is something that happens because of the system, but also something that I need to follow up because in the mornings when the learners are not at school, they get marked absent on the class list. It goes to reception and messages are sent to all the people on that list. So if the parent, for instance, made an arrangement with another teacher or a hostel guardian, admin will not know about it at that stage. And they will then wrongly send a message to the parent to say the child is absent. But then the parent must know this happened. I will also see and have a discussion with admin to see how we can manage that parents don't get the message. But you should know that, you know, the fact that the child is not at school, it is reported. And even if a child is reported with an apology that they will not be at school, they are still marked absent because we need to know and we need to submit stats every single day of the body that is on the premises. So whether they are with an excuse or not there with an excuse, it doesn't matter. We need to know the number of bodies on the premises because if there is a fire or whatever situation, we need to know exactly the number of learners in every class, and that is the reason for that. Just see what is the next one. How do we access Cambridge syllabus prospectus? Now, Cambridge is a new curriculum. It's a new addition to Prestige College. And we are currently doing the IGCSE. The current grade 9 learners are in their first year of the IGCSE in the following subjects. We handed out these booklets at the beginning of last year. No, not at the beginning when they had to enroll, with all the subjects that we had available for Cambridge. So it's not all the subjects that we have for the ordinary CAPS curriculum. So at the moment, we are busy with subject choices for the Cambridge curriculum again, and that same information will be made available to the learners and to the parents. I also answered in another question further down that we will have a specific Cambridge meeting and it will be sent out to all the grade 8 parents of this year. Maybe to grade 9 parents as well, because we realize that there are grade 9 parents who would still want to join. And then they can respond to that as well. The information about subjects and everything will be part of that letter and that meeting that we will have with parents. Okay, this is a question that is a very, very general question that people ask. When I'm paying for extramural activities, when my child is not participating in any. I just want to say that Prestige College is also a sports school. We are also a sport-focused school, as determined by the Department of Education. We have many different, well, not many, but we've got at least 3 different companies that sponsor the school in terms of sport. We believe that sport is an equal participant as academics in a school because of the holistic development of a child. We don't want children who just sit in front of a phone or the TV. They need to be actively involved. So even if they don't play soccer or netball or anything else, we've got fitness programs. There are many other different things. We've got the gym available, and kids need to participate physically as well. So, and that's why we felt that it is appropriate for Prestige College to have a levy paid for all the activities. We've got a lot of sports people who are qualified instructors in many different sports who are available to help kids to also do that for the health and for the fitness of their own bodies. Okay, this question is, if possible, can extra classes be compulsory to all underperforming students as per problematic subject to improve the child's understanding, because teachers together with child will concentrate more on the matter, thus ensuring a higher pass rate? Also inform parents to send them homework, especially during weekends, to work at home with child. This is a difficult question because we have these classes in the afternoons, especially for those learners who struggle in a specific subject. But our biggest problem and concern is that those learners do not arrive for those classes. So for this person that asked the question, we will send the email because we also know now the name of the child, for the parent to also talk to the child about that and find out why they are not attending those extra classes. We cannot force the kids to attend extra classes. The teachers are available, they know the program, there is a timetable, and if they don't arrive, it is not something, we can't send one teacher out to go and look for the child on the premises if they are supposed to be in extra classes. One parent asked this question: I wish to be contacted earlier when my child is struggling with schoolwork than to notice that in the school report. Parents, when the teachers are concerned about the performance of your child, there's usually an email that goes out. They have to report that email that they send out to the parents. So that is visible for us on D6, to see that the emails went out to the parents to say we are concerned about the academic performance of your child. So that happens at least once a term or every time that the teachers are doing an assessment and they see the poor results. We can just follow up on this to see if anything was sent out to the parents. That will be interesting for me to see if something was sent out. But that is how it's supposed to be happening. That parents must get an email from the teachers when they do an assessment and they see that the child is either failing or doing very poorly. Yes, you're welcome.
Parents, I would just like to add on that note, we have sent out numerous emails and hard copy letters to parents to request parents to please join the D6 app for your specific child. So there's 2 ways that you can have D6. The first one is you just download the app and you follow Prestige College. Then you will get general letters, general notices. That we also publish on Facebook. So that is more just general, we don't the whole world sees what we're saying type of information. Why D6 is so absolutely important for you to have is because you can be linked to your child or children if you've got more than one child in the school. Now to do that, you will need a specific invite code that we send to your emails. You can also do it by joining with your email, by joining with your ID number and your child's ID number. If you do that, then you get access to your child specific finances, demerits, absenteeism, anything that's linked to your child specifically will be seen on the app. And we, in the past month, we sent out lots of emails to say we are not going to send out SMSs for every demerit or absenteeism. We are using the D6 app. So we urge parents to please have that. We cannot send out the SMS all the time, but that information is captured in the D6 app. So something like being contacted earlier when your child is struggling, there is a notice that goes out that's not a demerit, but it just says what Mrs. Pienaar explained now, you failed this, and it goes to the app. So if you don't have the app linked to your child, please contact us so that we can help you, as that will really improve the communication. On our stats, we've got 1,700 parents that downloaded the app, but only 300 of our parents are linked to their child, so they can see their child-specific information. We really need all our parents to please join in to be linked to your child-specific information.
Thank you, ma'am. There's another question about the sport. So I'm not going to answer all the ones specifically, but I also just want to say some parents are under the wrong impression, because Prestige College Sport is also all registered as sport clubs. Now, sport clubs, for some reason, I don't know how it works really, but they may carry on with their sport. I think because some of it is financed by the Department of Education, or Sport and Recreation. So Prestige College has permission. We will never carry on with sport if we are not allowed to carry on with sport. I mean, when the Department of Education said that no sport may happen now in terms of netball or whatever sports where there are not sports clubs, we didn't participate in any of that. But when we are allowed, and we sent out many letters to explain to the parents, where we received a directive from the Department of Sport and Recreation, where we were allowed to let them, be at ease about that. We will not participate if we are not allowed to participate. We cannot afford that. We are a registered school. We don't want to be in trouble for doing something that is obvious that we may not do. We will just carry on with sport where we are allowed to do that. And as I said, we usually send it out in the monthly parent letter. I also want to say that we have 20 sports staff in our employ. Those people are permanent staff members at the school. We cannot just get rid of them now because of COVID. If somebody resigned, like what happened, we will not appoint somebody else in that position at the moment. But for now, last year we were privileged that we got tiers that we could pay them with. And they are doing a lot for the school. I mean, they are the ones that must implement the whole COVID structure at the pavilion or at the parking area. They put out the sanitizers in the mornings. They must make sure that kids wear their masks and keep their social distancing. So the sports staff are really working. They are not here and receiving a salary for nothing. And also they are busy during the day with the primary school and the high school, all learners who do physical exercises. As we said, we believe that they need that as well. We can't just let them sit the whole day, and you know how unhealthy that is. So I really hope that the parents will understand the whole issue around sport. That is something that we cannot and will not stop, except if there is really now, something that forces us not to have sport at school anymore. Grade 12, the grade 12s will have extra classes, or will they have extra classes? Sure. I hope that all parents know, and I sign all those letters that go out to the parents to tell them about the extra classes going on. Grade 12s have extra classes all the time. In fact, I wrote letters, yesterday or the day before, to a number of parents because of the teachers who complain like continuously in my office almost on a daily basis about grade 12s that just do not work. They just don't do homework, they don't submit things that they have to. This morning I had a teacher coming to me, it's a Saturday morning, she made a plan to have extra classes until 2 o'clock this afternoon for the grade 12s, for design. And she said to me when I entered here that 4 grade 12 learners just didn't pitch. So that is a concern of ours. There are enough extra classes for our learners, but we often have it that there are some kids in every class that just don't adhere or don't arrive for the extra classes. Please speak to your children about that as well. That ask them when are the extra classes and when do you attend. But from now on you will receive letters from us on a daily basis of those who do not attend or who do not do their homework. It is a very big extra administrative burden for us to do that, to send all those letters. But we are going to do that because the teachers feel that they can't do it alone. We really need the help of the parents here as well. Oh, this was positive, but I don't read the positive remarks that parents make because we try to answer all the questions here.
I will answer one while you look for the next one.
Okay.
There was a few questions about the report that is submitted on Google Classroom. When we have times when we do only online schooling, then parents get that weekly report if they are loaded as the guardian on the child's Google Classroom. Now, this specific parent said that his son is submitting the work, and he checked with him, he told him he's submitting, yet when he gets the summary, it says work is not submitted. Now, what happens in a case like that is that sometimes the learner doesn't follow the correct procedure to submit the work. So on Google Classroom, there is a specific place where it says turn in. So it happened in my class, for instance, when a child came back to school physically and then they hand something into me. Then they did not submit it on Google Classroom. So it's the child's responsibility to, on the assignment, where it was given to them on the electronic device, they have to say turn in or submit the specific, whatever they had to submit, if it was a report or a picture or whatever. So only once they do that, Google will register it as it's done. So you can still ask your child, if you didn't, please make sure that you submitted it on the classroom. But if there is a concern that they really did not submit something, the teachers will also communicate. It will then be reported on our Excel sheet, and at the end of a certain time frame, the grade heads then send out the messages to say, your child did not submit a certain task. So I think that's the biggest communication gap with regards to Google Classroom. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Parents, Mr. Pence here, well, first of all, good morning. There was a question to say, overall, my child is happy to attend to school. However, I'm concerned with account management and I inquired with the account department as she was very unprofessional. Parents, I urge you, if you have any query or any comment regarding a staff member or even at the admin department, you are more than welcome to please send me a personal email so that we can follow up and make sure that we know exactly what happened. In many cases, it was miscommunication or there's a misunderstanding. But we are here for you and we really want you and urge you in order to just communicate this with us so that we can settle this and that you are clear of what is meant and that you are happy and that they are happy and that we can take it further. Thank you very much.
Right, I just realized when I read some of these questions that I want to apologize for the absence of Mrs. Mokwateli this morning. I think it's safe for me to say that she lost her son-in-law. She only has the one daughter, and her husband passed away during the week, and the funeral will be in the Eastern Cape, so it was not possible for her to attend the meeting today. It was also because of COVID. I think the school, this is the question, should offer subjects like isiZulu so that learners whose home language is Xhosa or Zulu or foreign learners can use because it's relatable. I just want to say that when we started this school many years ago, we had all those subjects as part of our curriculum. And it was just completely not financially viable because you have maybe 1 or 2 learners per grade that would want to take that subject. So it will really not be possible for us. In the beginning, we also tried to accommodate those learners, and we got teachers from outside to come in to teach them in the afternoons. But that also didn't work because if that teacher doesn't arrive for the learners, it was always a mess. So I'm sorry, but we will not be able to accommodate those subjects at our school. I needed proper communication for hockey sports from the school. Some of us have bought new kit for our kids, and only to hear now that it's cancelled for good. Parents, this was a big issue, and maybe you already know the story behind all of this. From the beginning of the year, we said to the sport coaches, because last year happened and for the whole year we couldn't have hockey. This year the same thing, but the coach started to practice, and when they sent a letter to be signed that they are going to have a workshop during a weekend and so on, I said no, they can't do that, because we realized that now with COVID, many things change at our school. And we can't have all the sports anymore that we've had. You see that how many parents said that why must we pay for sport because our kids don't participate in sport. There are 3 sporting codes that we are not going to go on with, and that is rugby, basketball, as well as hockey. And the main reason for that is the fact that we are now using the hockey field for the parking lot. We can't have the parking in front of the gate because of COVID. We had to move it away. We thought that we will later again try, to take out the bush at an area and make another hockey field, but that is going to cost a lot of money that we don't have now. So we said that hockey cannot go on at the moment because we don't have fields. Because the moment the kids start to practice, then they put pressure, they want a field. And that is not a priority at the moment. So the sports that are the main sports at Prestige College, athletics is the one, because we are a departmental sport-focused school for athletics, for chess, and the cricket field and cricket as a sporting code is funded by Titans. They are maintaining the field that we have at the school. So the Titans Club is supporting the school to make it possible to have our learners and even learners from the environment to participate in cricket. So that's why we have those specific sports. And then also cross country, we have an ideal environment for cross country, so that will also carry on. So I hope that is clear to all the parents why we are doing it that way. I answered that. Oh yes, what will happen if all the points that a child has will be deducted for that child? Now, you know that the point system comes a very long way in our school. That is something that all kids know, that certain transgressions will attract a number of points lost in school. And it's very clear in the policies, in the diaries, in the school's diary for the kids, in the parents' manual. If you have lost all your points, then it means that you have to be expelled. Before you can be expelled from school, there is a hearing. So if you've lost all your points, we get everybody together, and it's not only when you have lost all your points. There are certain categories. If you've lost a quarter of your points, you will get a letter to say that your child has lost a quarter of the points. It's on the conduct report that you receive at the end of every term. And then you can see what type of transgressions your child committed. If it carries on the next term and they lost the same number of points, you will get a letter again to say that your child is now on 50%. If it carries on, your child can be expelled. So it carries on throughout the year. And obviously it's not only at the end of the term. If it happens before the end of the term, the grade 8 will send you a letter to say your child has lost a lot of points. You must please come into school so that we can discuss it or arrange for a virtual meeting. So the parent is kept in the loop all the time. But when a child gets to the point early in the year where he lost all his points, then it is possible that that child could be expelled from school. We have had it in the past where children were removed from a school and they were brought here, sometimes because the parents think it's we've got good discipline in the school, and then the child is extremely unhappy and they transgress because they don't want to be here, because whatever reasons they have. So yes, points are very important. If your child has lost points, the idea is that the moment that you become aware of it, that you will talk to your child about that. And then also, if there's something that you want to contact the school, your starting point is always the grade 8. And I think that on all the documents that we've sent out, we have also sent out again the email addresses of the grade 8s. Of course, it's not possible for the teachers to receive calls during the day because they are teaching and that is what they get paid for. So please use the email addresses so that they can, when they have the time, read that and also answer you in terms of the queries that you might have. That's what the grade 8s get paid for as well, to do this extra work.
Mrs. Pilar, there are a number of live questions coming up on the YouTube stream. Mrs. Strydom is doing her best to keep up and answer all of them. If we miss a question, we will also answer it and send out in that booklet with all the answers if we afterwards see that we missed a question. There are also quite a few questions about sport or culture, and we will make sure that we share a video with you with sport and culture, strategic points and concerns or things that we would like parents to also be aware of. So hopefully we will get that video out to you early on Monday or Tuesday morning. And if there are more questions that comes after that meeting, we will address them as it arises in due time. You can continue with the Google questions.
The Google Classroom question.
Yes.
That's yours.
Okay. So the next, I think that's, no, that one I answered, no?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the next question I have is about the school therapist. I propose that the school must appoint a permanent school therapist that is remunerated by the school itself, because we have many children that come from different preschools before coming to Prestige College. And furthermore, you need to do assessments on both teachers and learners interims in terms of performance for both teaching and learning. But over and above, as a parent, I'm happy to have my child or my children at Prestige College. I can just answer here that we have appointed a therapist at our school on a permanent basis. She also happened to be a qualified social worker, because that is one thing that we realized at our school, that there are many broken families, there are many kids in hostel that do not see either the mother or the father, things that we can't solve, and the kids sit with a problem. So the social worker, who is also qualified as a therapist, she deals on a daily basis with those learners. They have the freedom to go to her to make appointments whenever they want to. I do get reports from the social worker to see the number of people that she has seen and what the outcome was. She has made, for instance, many appointments with parents, with both mother and father, and different people that play a role in the child's life, to try and help the child to cope with the situation, either in hostel, if it is the first time in hostel, or with the academic work at school. So, and we are very pleased. We only appointed her last year, and we are really very, very pleased with the help that she has already rendered to primary and high school learners.
These questions must be skipped. Go to the other one.
Which other one? There are individual questions in terms of accounts. This happened on my account. We're not going to answer it here. But what we are going to do, as we have said previously, those individual questions, or that we consider to be more personal questions, we are going, in the next week, you will receive an answer to that question per email. And if there is, if you want to have a further discussion about that, then you make an appointment with a gradee who will arrange for a virtual face-to-face meeting about it.
And then there's a question about the lost and found clothes. No, must I answer?
Yes, you can do that.
The one question about clothes, lost clothes at school. So we, in our previous meeting, we urged parents to please make sure that all school clothes are labeled. We have, I don't want to say bags full, we've got cupboards full of clothes that we are picking up. And then we keep it and we ask, and we, at the primary school, they would go and they would have chance to go and look if they lost something. The primary school learners, I must admit, they actually reported to their teachers a lot faster than the high school. The high school learners will go to the sports field or they will sit somewhere break time and they would just stand up and leave. And if it's not marked, we cannot return the item to whoever lost it. So we do use that clothes to sometimes provide to learners that don't have, or if there's been an accident somewhere in class and someone needs it, then we make sure that we go and we wash it and we've got it in our clothing cupboard. We at one stage said because we have such a large number of clothes and some of it is brand new, we will have to start a second-hand shop because the learners do not take care of their belongings. So it's really difficult for us to manage it if it is not labeled. So the easiest solution is everyone must make sure that their items are labeled. There are a lot of things handed in. If it's not handed in, then we can also not assist to get it back unless it is somewhere on the premises. So parents, we shared a company last time, but there's no specific company that we use. I personally use that company to label my child's clothing. So if you Google it, if you want information for us, there are lots of places that make stickers or a stamp or an iron-on label that you can label your children's clothing, well, plastic wear, anything. You can label it with so that we can help it. We are now going to move on to some of the questions that we got for the questionnaire that we sent out yesterday.
Just one thing, John was answering.
Sorry, there's two questions that I skipped that Mr. Pence will answer. Then we're going to move over to our questions that we got on yesterday's questionnaire. Thank you, Mr. Pence.
So the question is, I'm worried about the school telephone line. I made several calls and I struggled to get through. I ended up communicating with my daughter through a cell phone to ask if the school line is working. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, we really want to apologize for that. We are working with a service provider regarding the phones, and unfortunately we have some issues from day to day. To the extent that we need to revise the contract that we have at this moment, and we're looking at other alternatives. So if there is really a problem with the phone line, please, you are welcome to communicate with me directly with my email address or any of the teachers' email address, that we can sort out the issue. But again, we want to apologize and we are looking at different alternatives. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pence. One short answer from me. Can we have a list of sports and tracksuits prices? And we'll make sure to attach the uniform and sports attire clothing prices to our next letter so that you have all of that available. That is only the stuff that's available at school. We only keep it here for a service provider. We sell it and we pay them. So the school doesn't really have a shop, but we do that for the service providers.
Okay, the last question that I see here at the bottom was again about D6, where parents say that if they don't have a smartphone, what happens, and also that they don't get the communication. So the part on not getting the communication, if I have to quickly diagnose the problem, that would be that you are not linked to your child specifically. So once again, you're welcome to contact the IT department and they can help you to set that up. Then secondly, if you don't have a smartphone, when you enroll, you also have to choose your preferred method of communication. So if we send out messages and we say we sent it out on D6, then we also mean that it is sent from the D6 platform, but to your email. So the parents will then receive an email. So we use the D6 app or we use the parent's email address on the receiving end. If you do not have the D6 app yet, then the communication is still sent on our side from D6, but you will receive it in your email, whether that is Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever your email is. Most of the time, it would come with a blue link. So in the email, you will see that there's a general message, and then it will say there at the bottom of the message, there's a link, which is the attachment. Depending on your device settings, if you click on that link, it will download the document or whatever it is that we sent to your device. So if you're working on a laptop, then you can just go to your My Computer part and look for it under Downloads. If you are working on a smartphone, I have a Samsung, so on my Samsung there is a Samsung folder, and in that folder there's also a folder that says Downloads, and then I will receive the message there. So if you know that you get it but you don't know how to open it, or you feel that there is something missing, please contact us. Sometimes it's a very small thing that we have to do in order to see the messages. We are not sending SMSs simply because there is a cost, and if we send out for every assessment for 1,400 kids, you can imagine what that cost would build up at the end of the month. So D6 and email is our preferred methods of communication, and we really request parents to use that. Okay, Mrs. Pinot, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Is it the first one, the coding? Right, please kindly indicate how current grade 5 learners going to grade 6 will be introduced to the coding and robotics courses. Parents, I just want to say to you that at the moment we have a trial for coding and robotics because there are so many programs available on the market. So at the moment we test Code for Kids, but there are 2 other companies that we are also going to test what they have on offer. All of them have a curriculum from grade 1 almost to grade 12. Others just go to grade 9 or to grade 10. But we want to test 3 of those programs this year still, before we are going to buy the one that we prefer for next year. So at the moment it's only a trial, so your child is not going to be behind. We do it for the juniors at the moment because they've got the time available in their timetable. And after that, we see how the kids respond to it. We see how the instructors respond to it because there's teacher training involved as well. But we are going to have a specific robotics and coding class and a specific reading program class as well. The reading program will benefit the whole school, and that is also on levels. There they test the computer is set up like that you test and see, you do a little exercise, and it indicates to us what level you are on. And then the computer will guide you to get the necessary information. So it's not that anybody is going to fall behind. Everybody might be at a different level of performance, but nobody's going to be left behind in this program.
Okay, there's quite a few primary school questions that came up. So I'm going to ask Ma'am Strydom if she can go through all of the primary school questions. She's been focused so hard on the YouTube channel to answer there. So if she can just answer the primary school questions that came in on the Google form. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. If I look at the questions that came in, many of them are regarding the extra classes. We have started with extra classes already in the past week. On a Tuesday and a Thursday, when the learners have sport, extra classes are offered. The learners are identified by their teachers and they then attend those classes. At the moment, we are focusing a lot on mathematics, on English, and of course on Afrikaans, with the social science teacher already also offering. Regarding to the coding that we are looking at the moment, then there was a maths question, the parent as well ask Ma'am Maria Piri, who is in charge of the grade 6 and 7 maths, to contact the parents so that a meeting can be set. That was from a grade 4 parent. Then there was a question from a parent that dealt specifically with the child. As this is a public platform, I will contact individually and speak to them on that. There was a question about Gail from a primary learner. I'll with Ma'am Zelia Maria, in charge of the Gail at Prestige College, but it's not for primary. I see this learner will be going to the high school very soon. So for the primary with regard to Gail, interactive lessons with schools, then that's part of the GALE Convention. Then there was a question from a parent with regards to the questionnaire where they could not choose a specific option. That is fine. I will contact the parent as well just to discuss.
Then I would also like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to our teachers that are logged in, helping to answer the live questions. If we do it, and sometimes it's also easier if they answer because they immediately recognize the name and then the grade head or the subject teacher can answer directly. So thank you very much to the teachers busy doing that. Mrs. Pinaar, if you can go on with some of our questions from yesterday's.
Okay, are we allowed to communicate with subject teachers with regard to performance via emails? I think I touched on that, but this is now for subject teachers, not only grades. You are definitely allowed to do that. As I said in the beginning, in the staff manual, I wonder if we shouldn't send this again. The parent manual, for those who didn't get it. All the staff email addresses are in. We'll also find all the staff email addresses on the website of the school. That is updated, so you can really go there and send an email to the teachers. They really appreciate it if they get a direct question. Then we don't have to go through a whole lot of people before you can get your answer. When a child is not doing well, can the teacher indicate what areas? Oh no, this is my answer, didn't I? This is a primary school teacher. Oh, I see. Ma'am, I don't know if you can look at this one. When
she'll contact them specifically.
Oh, she will contact this parent specifically. I see that there is an email address of a teacher also already put in. Is there an option whereby if a child is not performing well in matric, can go back to grade 11 at this time of the year? I must say it's the very first time that we get that request, and I think it's a very good question. We have not done this before, I can tell you that, but I think that we will definitely consider that. But we will definitely have to have a management meeting about this and consider all the pros and cons for the learner and the school. So let us come back to you. We have the name of the parent here. We will email you personally on this matter after we've had our meeting. Can't we get statements for school fees or any payment that we may be outstanding about? I don't read it all. Yeah, well, the answer written in here is that statements are handed out at the end of every month. Queries can be directed to Euphemia.rakau@prestigegold. Those email addresses are also available to you. In fact, it can be anybody. Ma'am Solofelu or Euphemia can handle those.
If I can just maybe come in there. Parents, we are really considering at the moment, although we do hard copies, at the end of August, we are going to send the statements via email to each and every parent. I just believe it's going to make things so much easier for you to receive it. And then you can have a look at that. And like Mrs. Pinaar said, if there's any issues, please let us know.
This parent said he doesn't have a question but a comment, because at school, one day after school, he felt that there's no social distancing and the kids are walking together when they go to the taxis or whoever comes to fetch them from school. Now, teachers and sport coaches are on duty every day after school. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. We shall definitely follow up on the matter. And we will also, we always like the specifics. If it was a specific day, even if you can say to us this date that happened, then we will know who the people are who were on duty that afternoon, and we can address it with them specifically. We would prefer that specific information, because now we have to talk to everybody, and it may be only one group of people on duty in the afternoon that's not doing it properly. But we will definitely address it generally.
And then suddenly all the protocols, masks, away. And we really urge each and every parent also to keep the schools. But responsibility. So please assist.
Right, this question is about the use of computer that we want to introduce trial this. But one of the things that and computer savvy, the computer knowledge that our young kids have, we were under the impression, and I must say that impression, that use telephones so easily, you know, not in school can tell me what to do with my using a computer, because it's not the same thing, a phone and a computer. And that's why we are introducing. You just take them to the computer room. We offer a specific curriculum. That is something that we did in school. You know how to operate. As we are with coding and all. So only from 2022 will they be in a formal class. You know, make sure only a trial period, and we will expose as many as possible learners to this computer program. Not because we also realize that with the primary school, because for the high school, the kids, they've got phones. They think they can do everything on a phone, and they can't if they don't know how a computer happens for those learners who are then behind.
Can I just quickly, but I have to say the connection.
Ma'am, if the stream is going through, we only have about 3 or 4 more questions, and I see our time is almost 12. If you can still hear us, we will finish with the last 2 or 3 questions.
Okay, I think this is a very important question. Granny, or somebody that's talking on behalf of a granny, to say that what plans do we have in place for them specifically? Because kids have to, you know, have a Chromebook when they go to grade 8. We sort of expect to have that. The school to have that. But in the we would we can accommodate those learners' parents. We can accommodate those learners' parents. So we will contact this person personally as well to find out how we will be able to do that.
Just to put you at ease, the video is also transmission, but it's also recorded. If you missed, I see that to say that the about the computer classes are not very clear. That's when that's something that a lot of people really want to know about. So the video would be too large to download onto your device. So if you missed anything, you can relax and watch that specific part at a later stage. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Pienaar to deal with the last 2 or 3 questions that she's got, and then we will end this session as well. Okay. It seems like we finished all the questions. If there is something that we missed, we are all getting better and better with this situation with technology all the time. So I was quite impressed with all the skills that came forward. So if there is anything we missed, like I said, we will email the specific parent question that they had, and we will make these questions available as well in a booklet form, and we will post that for parents to get as well. So thank you very much once again to the teachers that jumped in to help to answer, to the management team, to Mr. Pienaar that was there as backup for the financial questions. We feel privileged to have the opportunity to have this question and answer session, and that we don't, or that we didn't miss. Mrs. Pienaar, do you have any last comments?
I would just like to say if there's anybody that's sitting with an urgent question that they need to ask, please email it to admin@prestigecol.co.za. That is the contact email for the school. admin@prestigecol.co.za. And we will then come back to you. Thank you.
Mr. Pence, any last comments?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Ms. Redom? I also added admin@prestigecol on the comments side. Thank you to all the parents and everyone who watched today.
So as we are, let's just close our eyes and pray. Dear Lord, thank you that once we can feel like your favorites, that we are so privileged that we can work with all of these learners and that we can work with their parents, and that we know, together with them, the family, the school, and with you as our foundation and our guiding hand, that we can't go wrong. Lord, please help us to make the right decisions. Please help the parents to also make the right decisions, that we know whatever we do is in the best interest of those children, and so that in that way we also build South Africa up. Thank you for all the privileges that we have, that we can have a session like this, even though we can't see each other face to face. And even though with a lot of heartache going on, where Mambo Kwateri and many other people around this school, this world, this just pandemic time, they are really going through a lot of heartache. Let them feel your hands around them. And please keep everyone safe and let your will be done. We ask all of this in your name only. Amen. Thank you, parents. Have a lovely week.